What's going on, guys? It's the Tactical Den Podcast. I'm your host, Malika James. This is episode 003. I've been meaning to sit down and do this episode for about a couple days now. Finally, it's the weekend. I can sit down and get this podcast pumped out for you guys. So you guys can listen to it on your daily commute, or if you're at work, or if you just like to sit down and listen to podcasts. Either way. This podcast, I'm looking into doing hunting, EDC, and winter plans is what I'd like this topic to be for this podcast. It's going to be a shorter podcast, probably 20 minutes, not too long. Yeah, you got to have to forgive me because my nose is really stuffed due to allergies that I'm having now, which is great. My first podcast, it was because I wasn't feeling good, and then now it's allergies, and I can't get a break. And if I sound stuffed, that's why. I'm going to try my best to not sniff into the microphone constantly. So bear with me, guys. Yeah, and I'll try to do my best to not do that. Guys, starting off, it's rifle season here. And I was lucky enough to be able to go out yesterday morning and do some nice hunting. I'm hopefully going to do some hunting this evening. I did hunting in the youth season as well because it was my first year hunting and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Always wanted to go hunting ever since I was a little kid. It was something that I was interested in doing, something that I always thought was cool, something that I thought would have moral values and just the whole the mindset that you can get into doing it. I just thought it would be wicked helpful, and I thought that it would be a fun experience. And it was. I thoroughly enjoyed my first weekend doing it, and I'm enjoying doing it now throughout rifle season. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to doing throughout this entire next 2 weeks, I think. Looking back on that weekend that I did, bringing all the gear that I brought and the stuff that I thought was going to need, stuff I didn't think I was going to need, but stuff I brought anyway. I'd like to talk a little bit about that, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and overall my first experience. So, getting into that, stand by. I have some coffee that I need to be drinking because it's delicious. Okay. So getting into that, for hunting, I'm using a 30-06, obviously bolt action rifle. I got it grandfathered to me, so I could use that, and I'm really excited with it. I don't actually know what it is. I can't find any writing, any etches, any engravings on the barrel, underneath the scope, on the buttstock. I can't find anything on it, so I don't even know what it is. The scope I have is just your typical 3-9 regular crosshairs. There's no hash marks, no mills or anything in that. It's just your typical hunting scope, which it's okay. I in the future want to get a 308 setup that has a mill scope, so I can. Oh, I wouldn't say mill scope. I would probably go with an MOA scope. Because those are different. If I did that, I'd have to go through and redo everything in a metric sort of a way. I'm used to MOA, so if I had just like your typical MOA scope, but I had the MOA graduations, those hash marks in it, that would be what I would love to do. I'd love to get that as a setup. I was looking at I think it was like a Vortex Diamondback, something like that. It was like an MOA. Really nice scope. I wanted to look into getting one of those and put it on a 308 rifle. That's my dream bolt action rifle setup. Inexpensive, but it works fine. Everything like that. So that's what I'm looking into for that. But as of now, I got just a regular 30-06 grandfather to me that I can use, and I'm really, really happy with it. The ammo that I have been using in it, gosh, I can't remember the name. I'm using 180 grain because I don't know. I tried shooting the other ones, and the way that they were shooting, I didn't want it to shoot too light. I didn't want it to be I didn't want it to be too heavy. I didn't want it to be I didn't want it to drift too much if I wanted to do some distance shooting and stuff. So I have 150 grain and I have 220 grain, and then I had this. I think it was like a Remington. It was like a speed round, and it was like 55 grain. Okay, that's like the same as your typical 223 5.56. It was the same grain, same type of bullet. It just had a plastic rim around it to make it so it was a smaller projectile, but fit into the 30-06 shell casing. The weirdest thing. Did not like those. Yeah, so overall, I just found that 180 grain is what I like using, and so I'm using that. I have a sleeve on the back of my stock where I'm keeping extra rounds. So I have 9 rounds on that, and then underneath that, I have a plastic bag where I wrote down some of my ballistics on the back of it, because there's ballistics on the back of the box. You can just cut that off with whatever you're using, and then put that on it. And that's pretty much what I have underneath that. So I have the stock, and then I have the sock over it, and then I have my bullets on that, and then I have my card underneath that. So it's an interesting little setup there. Actually, stand by. Let me see if I can go find the bullets I'm using. I can read off some of the stuff. Yeah, so it's a... Can't pronounce... It looks like it's a Cellier Bellet? It's so weird, the cursive on this. I've cursive is something that's really weird, but it's the S&B. So S&B, I have the 30-06 Springfield Full Metal Jacket, 180 grain. That's what I've been using. And the ballistics chart on the back of it. Obviously, you have your typical drops at 100 yards, drops 3.6 inches, 200, 13.7, 31.3 at 4. Yeah, so you get your typical little ballistics for certain engagements on that, which is really helpful. And I like to go to a range, and I'd like to test that out and then write it on my own dope book. I think that would be the most efficient way for me to actually get accurate readings on it. So that's nice. So that's what I've been using. That's what I've been using when I'm going hunting. I have just one in the chamber and stuff like that. I don't load any extra rounds into the internal magazine. That's not what I do. I usually just do the typical one, put it in, close the bolt, safety on, and then I'm good to go. I usually don't do anything else besides that. Now, in terms of gear that I bring, I have my typical sniper bag. I have a sniper bag that has a ruler in it. I've got face paint. I've got a compass. I have my dope book. I have extra pieces of paper. I have pens. I have a pillow that's inside of that, so I can actually take that and use it as a bag that I can use it as a shooting bag with, and I can put my rifle over that and I can shoot with it. So I have multiple different things in my sniper bag. So I have that I have whenever I do distance shooting, or I have if I have to bring my ghillie suit somewhere and I'm doing training, I bring that. So for hunting, I made a similar bag, but smaller. So inside of it, I can carry a water bottle. I can carry a source of food if I need food. I can carry a hand warmer in case I need to heat myself, which I wouldn't use it on my hands and I wouldn't use it on my feet. What I would actually do is I would use a tarp, because I also bring a tarp. When I went hunting yesterday, it was pouring rain, and I had to bring a tarp with me. I have a couple military tarps that I use when it comes to rain and downpour. So I had that, and I put that over me, and you can turn yourself into like a rock, like a little rock. So I went behind this stump, and I was trying to blend in with that one stump, had my rifle over that stump, and I became a little bit of a rock with that. But the good thing about that is because I have the tarp in the poncho over me, I can make myself into this little warm insulated box. So with a hand warmer, what I can do, because people do this all the time with candles, they'll take a wool blanket and they'll put it over themselves and they'll light a candle and they'll put it in between their feet, and that candle heats up the inside of that, and it's what people do for survival. I carry a candle everywhere I go. I have a candle in my EDC bag, and we'll get into EDC in a second, and we can talk about that. But I have a candle and I have a lighter just in case I need to heat myself. You can get a blanket almost anywhere. Of course, I carry blankets in my car because that's important. Everyone should carry a blanket in their car. You don't know when you're going to need it. So, to warm myself, that's a good way to do it. And even you can do it with like the hand warmer. It's not as good, but if you take that hand warmer and you put it like there by your lap or something like that, and you cover yourself with that poncho, it's going to heat up the inside. And so when I was cold and stuff like that, I didn't even need to do that because my own body temperature insulated the inside of that, and I was fine. I didn't even need to do that. So I carry that inside of my bag. I carry gloves in case I get a deer. I'm kind of big on, I don't like anything on my hands. I'm weird like that. If it needs to be done, it needs to be done, and I'll do it. But if I can wear gloves and do something, I'll do it. So I have vinyl gloves in my bag just in case. I carry inside of that bag. I carry some rope in case I need rope. I don't know why I would need rope, but it's always good to carry certain things. And if I needed to tie up like a poncho or something like that, because if it was getting too rainy, I do that. I carry gloves in there. I don't like to wear gloves all the time. And I'm not talking about my vinyl gloves. I'm talking about like warm gloves. I don't like to wear warm gloves all the time when it's cold because I actually get colder by wearing gloves when I go out. Now, if I'm going out with no gloves and I'm fine, and then it gets cold and then I put gloves on, it makes it so my hands actually get warmer. So I always carry that in my bag separately. And then on top of that, I carry my orange hat in there, and I carry a small orange vest that's really tightly rolled up in case I need to hang that somewhere. And in the case of what I was just talking about, using my poncho and my tarp to warm myself, I would need to hang that orange vest above me so people know that there's a hunter right there so they don't shoot me in the face, because that would be a very bad hunting day for me. So that's just a little things that I carry inside of my hunting bag. I'll post a photo on the Instagram so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And that's what I carry for that hunting bag. I also carry some extra bullets in there just in case. So you never know. I don't need extra bullets because I have that 9 on my buttstock, but I always carry more. Now, that's my hunting setup. Now, I also bring with me my belt setup that I have for my kit. I have I want to say it's a Blackhawk belt, that I got, and on top of that, I have my holster. I have a small bag, in the back, a dump pouch. I have a dump pouch on that, and I have my knife. I have a handcuff compartment, and I have just a small little bag in case I need things. I put an extra poncho in there. I have a pen. I have a lighter, and I have other things like that. Then on top of that, I've also got some like chem lights and mag pouches that I have on there as well, pistol and rifle mag pouches. I say this because I bring this with me when I'm going hunting. I bring this with me because I like to keep my pistol just in case I need to fend off or do warning shots against any predator-esque animals, so I can do that. It's also important to keep it with me because that other pouch that I was talking about also serves as a medical pouch, and I have a tourniquet on it as well. So I like to keep that for medical gear just in case something happens. There's like an accidental shooting accident that happens with someone's too stupid to get a PID, which happens a lot more than people think, which is really annoying. That there has to be that danger. But hey, you're dealing with weapons and you're dealing with people that don't know how to use them properly a lot of times. So it's, yeah. And even with the hunter safety course is fucking easy. It's so stupid easy. Anybody that has 2 brain cells to rub together should not have a problem passing that. Now the thing is people do have 2 brain cells to rub together, and they end up passing it by guessing, which can happen. And then they get their hunter license, and then they kill people. It's just stupid. I hate that there's that risk, but it's there. So, guys, if you go hunting, bring a tourniquet, bring a stop the bleed kit, bring all these things. So yes, I carry that with me every single time I go out. With that being said, what I wear. I always wear multiple layers. It's important to wear multiple layers because you can always shed layers. You can't get more layers. And even with that technique of being warm with the poncho and stuff like that, it's still good to have those extra layers on top of it just in case you need them. So what I like to do is I like to wear warm sweatpants because that's good no matter what. Warm sweatpants, and then I'll wear like a long sleeve underneath that, and I'll tuck that into my sweatpants so I have a complete sealable layer that I don't have to worry about when breaking through and my extra layers and coming through and freezing me because wind sucks. So I wear that, and then I have long socks. I have military socks that are really long, and so you take those and you put that over your sweatpants, and then you pretty much can go from there and build whatever layers you find necessary, however cold it is. That's my base layer I like to do. What I usually do is I usually just take that, and then I put on some. I have winter camo. I have winter camo that's military, and I take that and I put that over it for pants, and then I have a jacket, and then I take that and I put that over it. Just zip that up, and then you're pretty much good from there. The jacket that I have has an internal hood where you can unzip the back and you can pull a hood out if you need to do that if you're too cold, but having the orange hat is necessary, so I just wear the orange beanie. That's typically good for me. It keeps me pretty warm, and then with that poncho technique, you can stay warm really easily. So that's always good to have. And in order to pull off this, correctly with the staying warm, you should have something to sit on. So get a pad that you can sit on as well. Taking a nice little trash bag or something like that that doesn't make as much noise, so you'd have to get one that doesn't make too much noise that you can sit on is good, so you're not getting wet, because that will suck. So yes, I usually just carry 2 ponchos. I have 2 ponchos that I can fold up, military ponchos that I can fold up and then carry with me, and tie that to my hunting bag, and I can just sling that over my shoulder, and that's what I typically do. So I'm really excited for this, rifle season. I think it's going to be extra fun. I've been out. Okay, so I've been out hunting 3 times already. Every single time I've seen deer. The first time I was doing it was the youth season. There was so many deer. I took a shot at one of them. It was a 4-pointer, but my rifle was not sighted in yet because I had not sighted in my rifle. And the bullet I was using was 150 grain, and so that thing went way high. I'm talking, it went 6 inches over the buck's back. It was no fun. So I took that shot. It ran. I went a little bit because I couldn't tell if I missed it or not. I definitely missed because after that I sighted it in. I'm good now. I zeroed at 100 yards, so I'm good. But that went right over, and that was my first time doing it. And then I went again, and I sat and I just watched. There was a deer that came out. Man, I watched this deer for well over 2 hours, and it was a small, young little buck. Young. It was 75 pounds. It was small. And I was just watching it. I could have killed it so many times. I just didn't. It was youth season. I could have shooted whatever I want. I could have shot whatever I want. But I'm stupid. Shot whatever I want. But it was so small that I was like, I don't need this deer. For me, hunting is not... It's not about getting a deer. It's about experiencing it. It's about what it does to you as a person when it comes to the challenges that you might have to face, such as extreme cold, patience, getting positive identification on the deer that you're trying to get to make sure that it's illegal, a 3-point. It's important. And having this and be able to sit there and be able to keep calm, to be able to stay warm is stuff that's really important to learn. And that's what I take out of it. So I find that really, really, really great. So watching this deer, there were so many times I could have hit it. It actually got so close to me. It got within 70 yards. 70 yards from me. And it was just right there. Right there in front of me, broadside. I actually put my crosshairs right on it, and I was like, I can take this shot, but I didn't. Because it was so small. it was such a small deer, and I've never got a deer before. I could have just got it right there, right then and there, and been like, yeah, I got a deer. But I didn't. I waited. I waited for 2 hours. It walked right by me. 2 hours. I saw it, and it was just there. So many times I could have taken that shot. And then evening started to come, and then I was like, okay, I want to go see if I can find another deer. Found another deer, and it was multiple deer. It was like four does, just chilling, about 60 yards away. A really nice doe, and it looked right at me, and it started to turn away. And again, I had a clean shot, but it was getting dark, and I didn't want to have the chance where I missed and then had to go look for it if I hit it in a non-fatal area. Why was I scared of missing? Well, just like I told you guys, I hadn't sighted in my rifle yet. So I didn't know exactly where my round was going to go. And the reason why I couldn't sight in my rifle was because I had nowhere to go sight it in for stupid reasons. I just had nowhere to go. Finally, I did. Don't worry, guys, I have it sighted in. Don't worry. It's 100 yards. It's good, okay? But at the time, I was like, I don't know. I can't. And they told me that it was sighted in already. They said, oh, yeah, it's zeroed for 25 yards or whatever. Bullshit. It wasn't. So it was wicked stupid. I shot it again when I actually finally did zero it. It was shooting like 6 inches left. And it wasn't because I was jerking the gun. It was consistently grouping to the left. I fixed it, obviously, now. It was, going left and high. It was, no. So, luckily I didn't take that shot. I would have skimmed it and it would have been terrible. But I was like, no, it's too dark. I'm not going to take the shot. So I didn't. Even before this, when I was walking out to go to the hunting spot where I was going to hunt, there was 5 deer sitting in the field, just right there. Again, I could have taken a shot. Didn't feel like it was a good kill because I was just walking. I walked up on it. You know, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm walking to go to my hunting spot. Oh, there's a deer right there. Oh, kill it. No. You can if you want, but no. I was like, no, I've barely started. Barely started. Yes, it would be nice to get a deer already, but I didn't earn that. I didn't get that deer. I just walked up on it. You know, that's sad. I mean, it's not sad. If you want to get a deer, do it however you want. But for what I was doing, I was like, no, I'm going to wait. I'm going to earn it. I'm going to wait. So I didn't shoot it. I waited. What's all this to say? All this to say is this. That small deer that I found, that I didn't kill, that I waited 2 hours to just walk right by, the next fucking day, someone killed it. The next day. Well, where I live, there's the back area, the back meadow. It's a meadow. People hunt there a lot. And that's where I was. And I saw the same deer. Next day, someone killed it. Walked right up on it. And then the person I was hunting with looks at them and says, you know, we could have got that deer yesterday, but we didn't because it was too small. And the other people were just shrugged it off and were like, a deer's a deer. No. A deer is not just a deer. It's not how... Okay, I mean, it's how it works, but, like, guys, you gotta understand. That deer hadn't had a chance to really experience life yet. And I'm not, like, a person that's all, like... put it this way. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan. Food is food. Meat is meat. It's delicious. I love it. And I'm not, like, save the animals or anything like that. But as a hunter, there's some ethical viewpoints that should be implemented into it. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same way. Like, if you see a small little deer, are you really going to just shoot it because it's the first deer that you saw and you just want to get a deer? That doesn't sound like the right thing to do. So, again, that's how my experience was with it. But yeah, so that was like, oh my gosh. So I waited for so long. It was like, I could get this deer, but I'm not going to. And the next day someone gets it, and I felt really bad because I was like, I let that deer live. So it was a little bit sad. I heard about it. I was at work when I heard about it, and I was like, oh dang. That's kind of big sad. But moving on, we're going to move into the EDC section really quick. Already we're past 20 minutes. So I'm sorry, but I've been waiting to do this podcast. You guys have been waiting to hear this podcast. So we're gonna push it past. We're gonna see how far we can go with this. So it should be good. But yeah, stand by. We'll take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Moving into EDC now, everyday carry. I wanted to talk about this portion of the podcast because the other day I was talking to a buddy of mine about what pistol he should get, what EDC he should get. And we were talking about that for a little bit. And I told him, I said, don't pick a gun, don't pick a pistol until you've shot a similar model, or the model you want, and make sure that it feels right for you. That's key. 100% key. I carry a Glock 19 every day. I don't leave home without it. I make sure I have it with me because you never know what's going to happen. Now, EDC isn't just your pistol. EDC is everything that you carry with you every day. I could do so many episodes of this podcast on EDC because EDC is that important. It's just that key. So when I was talking to him about what pistol to get, I said you should shoot it first. I have a Glock 19. I have people that own SIGs. I have people that, they have like an M&P, stuff like that. I shot an M&P the other day. M&P Shield. I hated it. Absolutely was disgusted by that trigger. I hated it. A lot of people like it. I don't like it. I don't like the M&P Shield. I don't like how it shoots. Don't like the way it feels. I like Glocks. I think Glocks shoot nice. I think they feel nice. And I think they're good shooters. So I was telling him, make sure you shoot the gun first. Because if I would have been like, I want to get a M&P Shield and got an M&P Shield, I would have been really upset. I would have gotten used to it over time, but feeling that in my hand was not nice. I have big hands, and it was not what I wanted in a gun at all. The Glock 19 fit me perfectly. It feels good, and I love shooting it. So that's what I carry every day. You also need to figure out as a person, what's my body type? Can I fit a full sized, or do I have to fit a compact, a subcompact? What can I fit? So that's important as well to figure out. As we were talking about it, he likes the way that the Glock feels, so he thinks he's going to go for a Glock, which I think is based and cool. Glock buddies. But that's just the gun portion of it. I have a tactical Scorpion concealed carry Glock 19 holster that I use. That's what I carry my gun in every day. But that's not what I carry for EDC. That's not all I carry for EDC. I carry so many other things. I have a bag, an EDC bag, which I recommend everyone gets. I recommend everyone gets a EDC bag. It's just a small, compact bag that you can bring everywhere you go that has everything you might need, but can also be transitioned into a 75, 72, 73 hour bag. I think that's important, without having too much gear, but being able to survive. So I carry that every day. It's a small, sort of like an OCP camo shoulder bag that I carry with me every day. We're going to dive into the contents of what's in it in a second, but I picked that up for $12. It doesn't have to be this expensive on brand name bag. You don't have to say, I have this, whatever it might be, brand bag. I'm not going to go shit on other brands because there's a lot of cool tactical brands out there that 100% you should buy their gear if you have the money. I'm not saying it's not worth it to buy on brand gear. It's 100% worth it to do that. 100%. But you don't have to. That's what I'm trying to say. I've been doing just fine with the gear that I have, with the bag that I have. Hasn't broken, hasn't frayed. If I keep it up and I start cleaning, if there's like some frays on it, some little pieces of string coming off, snip it, burn it, resew it. You can do that if you're not lazy. So, what do I carry in my EDC bag? First thing I carry that needs to be easily accessible is right on the outside I have a tourniquet. a cat tourniquet right on the outside of it in a elastic tourniquet pouch. So you just rip that up, pull the tourniquet out super fast. Yeah, I have that right on the outside of my bag. First thing you see on the side of my bag is a tourniquet. Big ass letters, TQ, right on it. Why? In case I need someone else to go get that. I say, hey, I need that tourniquet in my car or something like that. Or I can't get to it in time and someone else needs it, and I say, I need that tourniquet, and they're like, what's a tourniquet? You know? You need to be able to say, it's the big thing that says TQ on it. Open that, and it's right in there. That's what that is. That's a tourniquet. It doesn't need any explanation. You can't just be like, I need a tourniquet, and then have it randomly in your bag or in your bag. If you just say, I need the tourniquet on my bag, they'll be able to find it easier. You should have tourniquets easily accessible. So, on top of that, you should also have Stop the Bleed, easily accessible. I have a bleed stopping powder that you can pour on. That's like it's like replacing the old fashioned shove the bullet hole with dirt kind of a thing. So you put that on it, take some gauze, you cover that, and then you bandage that closed, and that should hopefully stop you from bleeding out. I have that in there. A little bit harder to find, but it's in there. It's pretty easily accessibly on top. So that's medical supplies. I keep stuff like that inside. I have burn, cream, and stuff like that. Different, so you're not getting infected as well. I have disinfectant, cream and stuff like that you can put on. So yes, keep medical supplies easily accessible. I carry a bottle of Aleve in there because I had fractured my ankle a while back, and I was doing training on top of that with my ankle being fractured, doing running, doing CQC, doing through the bounding, and just going all out hardcore training. My ankle was killing me. Okay, Aleve was able to make it so I took some of those like a painkiller, and I was able to walk on it. It still hurt, but it was much less painful. I would have been in so much pain without it. So I carry that with me everywhere I go. I had one girl, was a friend of mine, and yeah, she had an ankle injury too, and she was very not so keen on taking it. And then I said, hey, listen, take this, it'll change your life. And she's like, okay. So she took some, and she's like, oh my gosh, I can do this now. Like, to feel so much better. And she was able to get after it, which is really awesome. So I carry a bottle of that with me in my medical supplies. It also helps with headaches and stuff like that. Is it good for you? I can't imagine it is. But in a scenario where you're in pain, or you break something, or you fracture something, and you need to get the hell out of there, it'll help. So I carry that. And outside of medical supplies, I carry a stun pen, a taser pen. I carry that in there as a less than lethal means of defense in case that needs to be deployed. I have that in there just in case as a backup. I carry lockpicks. I have a lockpick set in that bag because you never know. Lockpicking is not for you to break in places. Don't do it, guys. Please don't do anything illegal. But I carry that with me in case I need to get in somewhere. If someone needs help, I need to pick a lock to get in there. Guys, practice picking locks. Do it. Get good at picking locks. Not because you are a criminal, but because someone might need your help and they're in a locked room and you have to get them out and you have no means of breaking glass or breaking a door down or anything like that. To pick a lock, get good at it fast so you can do it quickly. You never know when you're going to need to use it, so just learn how to use it. So I carry lock picks in my bag. On top of that, I carry instant coffee. I carry a little thing of instant coffee in there just in case I need some caffeine, because caffeine really hurts my face. I need caffeine. And it's terrible. Guys, if you're not addicted to caffeine, don't get addicted to caffeine, okay? Please. Drink coffee here and there if you want it, but don't get addicted to caffeine. I've been weaning myself off of it slowly but surely. I'm getting there, guys, and I don't want to be addicted to caffeine, so I'm stopping drinking as much coffee. As I take another sip of coffee. Got me thinking about it. So I carry that with me. What else do I carry? I carry a small MRE, an MRE meal. As I said, it's supposed to be like a 3-day survival kit as well. So bring an MRE meal. Have an MRE meal in your bag. So I carry that. So an instant coffee and an MRE meal just in case I need that. Okay? That's what I have in that as well. On top of that, I have 550 cord or paracord. Okay? I have some of that because you never know when you're going to need it. It's important to carry it with you, and I have it with me. On top of that, I have a sewing kit. I have a small pocket-sized sewing kit in there because you don't know if you're going to need sutures. You don't know if you're going to need to re-sew something. You don't know if you're going to need to make something or anything like that. So I carry that. It has needles, it has thread, it has scissors, and it has little spools of thread. So it has stuff like that. Different types of needles too, so you can bend it as to make for easier sutures or whatever you might need it for as a last resort if you need to survive. So I carry that with me. I carry a small sewing kit with me every day. On top of that, I carry, again, chem lights. I cannot stress this enough to carry chem lights as an emergency means of light. They're great. They're also good for marking things. If you need to mark something, they're great for marking. I did a training scenario where we used chem lights to mark, and it worked really, 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 really well. We used it to mark not only places, but we used it to mark ourselves. Having a plate carrier, you have molly straps, and to take a chem light, crack it, and then shove it into the back of your molly strap, the people behind you can see who's the lead guy. I did a training event, and that's what I used. And I used that to identify the friendlies. I used it to identify myself so everyone could see where everyone was. And I used that. So, really great way to identify and to mark. So, carry chem lights. I have a lighter and I have flashlights. A lighter I used for the small candle that I also keep. I also keep a small candle in there. I carry a lighter for multiple reasons. Starting fire. And on top of that, as a backup for that lighter, I carry flint and steel, just in case. I carry a multi-tool, and I carry a knife, a folding knife, and as I said, like a big, heavy-duty multi-tool. I carry those as well. The flint and steel, as I said, last resort, and as I also said, a survival bag. It's meant to be able to help you survive in dire situations. I also carry thermal blankets, emergency thermal blankets. I carry 2 of them, and that's always important. So those are things that I carry inside of that. Flashlights, just get a good flashlight. Carry that with you, and extra batteries. Everything that I'm also saying, anything that uses power, anything that uses anything like that, I always carry extra means of power to those things. I carry a box of matches, like heavy-duty waterproof matches. I carry that. Guys, I can't stress enough, you need to have means of making a fire. That's so important. Anybody that understands that going out and doing training out in the middle of nowhere by yourself or with people, fire is so fucking helpful. Not only is it a way to cook your food, but it's a way to keep warm. It's a source of light. It's a source of just energy for yourself as well, moral. It's a nice boost to just sit there by a nice warm fire. Guys, get sources for making fire. That's important. That's important. That's essential, I believe, in any sort of EDC bag, any EDC carry. So that's a little bit of what I carry in my EDC bag. And on top of that, I carry an extra magazine and I carry extra rounds in my EDC bag. Because in my pistol, I carry hollow points, and then in my EDC bag, I have a small box of 9mm full metal jacket that I carry. So I have that sort of versatility between the 2 rounds I can use if I need different penetration, if I need to have stopping power of the actual bullet. I don't want the bullet to go through an object. I'll use the hollow points Shooting through car windshields, you can't do that with a hollow point. The hollow point will probably just not. It'll say no. But then again, if you're shooting through your windshield, then you're in a really bad scenario anyway. So let's hope we don't find ourselves doing that. But again, trained to do it anyway. So that's kind of what I carry in my EDC. It changes from day to day where I'm going, what I need, and essentially what new gear I get. It's a constant changing thing. For instance, if I'm going somewhere, there might be some money in it. If I feel like I'm going to need to buy something, I carry extra money in my EDC bag. Or I might carry extra rifle rounds if I feel like I'm going to need to bring a larger weapon than just a pistol. If I feel like I'm going somewhere that's not as safe. I carry a smoke grenade in there sometimes if I feel like I need to be able to get out of somewhere quickly. There's so many different things. Get a bag to adjust your EDC. Get a tactical bag so you can adjust your EDC necessary to where you're going, what you need. I also carry a whistle on there as well in case I need to alert somebody or alert everybody. I have a whistle. These are just ideas of things that you can carry in your EDC. This is what I carry for my EDC, and I carry it everywhere I go every day. Yeah. I can't stress it enough to have an EDC and to carry. So important, guys. I don't carry an extra magazine on my person. I carry that in my bag, like I said, but I don't carry it on my belt. I just carry my pistol on my belt, and their 15-round mag with one in the chamber for a Glock 19 is plenty. It's not more than enough. Never say that it's more than enough. You never know what kind of gunfight you're going to get into, but it's plenty. So that's all coming from what I carry, my experiences. And on top of that, to push the extreme of EDC, I have a plate carrier in my car at all times. I have a backup plate carrier, a slim, sleek, small, black plate carrier that has zip cuffs on it. It has an extra tourniquet. It has trauma shears. It has stop the bleed. Again, carry your stop the bleed. It has chem lights on it, and it has my blood type on it. And I carry that in my vehicle in case I need to throw it on. And that has steel plates in it. A lot of people don't like steel plates, and I would agree with you. The spall on it is nasty, and it can kill you. But I have the steel plates in a case. So you can cover your steel plates in a like a pouch or whatever. I don't know what they're called. But it's like an insert. You insert the steel plates into it, and I have it in that. And it's pushed up far away from my face, or if I got any spall, it'd probably be on my nose. Yes, spall is terrible. And if you can buy anything besides steel plates, buy anything else. But as I said, it is a backup plate carrier. So I carry a backup plate carrier in my vehicle. And I have steel plates in it because that's what was affordable with the small amount of budget that I had for a backup plate carrier. And it works. Okay? Always get an extra plate. Test it. Make sure it works. And it does work. It stops small arms, and it stops a couple rifle rounds. So it's good. Make sure that your plate's good before you start trusting your life with it. So yes, there's spall, but my plate covering does help with that spall, so there isn't as much spall, if any. So definitely don't even wear plates if they're steel and you don't have a cover for them. Don't even do it. Now for my actual plate carrier that I have, that is your typical it's not soft armor, but it's that weird in between, nor is it ceramic. It's technically classified as soft, but it can still stop rifle. So it's not soft, it's just a flexible armor. It's weird. I don't know exactly what brand it is or anything like that. It's I don't know. I could go look at all this and I could go give like actual insights, but the thing is I don't. That's my actual kit that I carry. It's not like an everyday thing. It's my kit that I have stored if I need it, with everything else, like my ballistic helmet, my plate carrier, my AR-15, my magazines, my belt, my pistol, my holsters, and all that kind of stuff. It's that kit. And then I have a concealable soft armor that I have. Very small, but it's concealable. So it's just a vest that you put over, you clasp that down, and then you put your shirt over it, and it's minimal, it's small, it's concealable. Can't imagine it would stop more than a 45, but it's something. And a lot of times, if you need that and it's an up close thing, they're probably going to be using a pistol, like a 9mm anyway, so it will save your life. So I do carry that if I'm going somewhere where I think I might need it. But then again, don't put yourself in those situations where you're going to need it, unless you absolutely have to. And then again, if you have to, make sure you're prepared. So that's kind of my take on the EDC that I carry. Again, we're going to get some more people on the podcast that have a little bit more insight on the EDC that they have, which is going to be really awesome. So we'll have more people like that on the podcast. That's sort of the goal. So that's a little bit of insight on the EDC that I have. That's not everything. That's not all the stuff. That's just a good insight of my sort of EDC that I usually have, which I think is good. There's always improvements to be made, and there's always going to be more gear that I'm going to get rid of and swap out with something better. So, as I said, get started with something small and then work your way into it. You don't need to buy these great on-brand things if you don't have the money to buy them. But get started on your EDC. 100% get started on your EDC. Moving into just small winter plans really quickly before we get going. I would like to do a lot of winter training, and we'll do some podcasts on that. Releasing my album is something that is going to be coming up this winter, hopefully. I don't know when I'm going to basic training. I know that this whole MEPS has been rejecting my package over and over again due to my past ankle injury. So I'm getting that sorted right now, and I think it's good. Waiting to hear back from them. I'll keep you guys updated on that. But that's going okay. It is going well. So I don't know when I'm going off to basic. Probably not until next spring, if I'd have to guess. It'll be a bit. It'll definitely be a bit. So coming up with, what the next plans for this is a lot of training, a lot more podcasts, music, having more guests on. I'd like to go to do some CQB. You guys can come to that if you'd like to say hi. I'll let you guys know when I'm going and where I'm going for CQB, and you guys can come and join. It'll be really fun. Fun time to play together and do some airsoft. That'd be really fun. So getting into that stuff later on, that'll be really fun. So this podcast is a lot longer than I intended it to be. So I'm sorry about that, but it gives you guys extra content to listen to. So I'm not horribly sad about it. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting into for these next couple months. Music, podcasts, extra winter training. It'll be really fun. That'll be really awesome. So that's going to probably wrap it up for this podcast, guys. Thank you guys for sticking around and listening for this long. And it's been a great pleasure talking to you guys. All right. Sounds awesome, guys. All right. See you in the next one. Take it easy.